So David, in his preparation time, before he was doing this, here was a quote about David to Saul from one of his colleagues. It said, "One of the servants answered, 'I have seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the harp. He is a brave man and a warrior. He speaks well and is a fine-looking man, and the Lord is with him.'" This is the reputation David built while he was in preparation, you see. He wasn't out. He wasn't anybody. He was a shepherd watching sheep. Goodness, you know. I mean, wow. You know, I'm thinking, well, woohoo. I thought God might have the wrong one, the shepherd boy. But you see, this was the reputation David was building before he ever came to power. And I think that's very, very important. He was a musician, tending the sheep. He was a brave man and a warrior. Why? Because while he was tending the sheep, a lion tried to eat the sheep and he killed the lion. And a bear tried to kill the sheep and he killed the bear. Now, I don't know about you. A sheep's not worth it. And I said, "Bear, here, have one." It's all yours. Take them. You know, that's a good one. You know, you can have the plump one too. I don't care. You know, I'm like pulling away with my harp. You know, I'm running into a cave and saying, "Good luck, sheep, man." You know, figure it out. But he killed the lion and the bear while he was a shepherd. He also was a good communicator. He was ruddy with a fine appearance and handsome. That's very important, you understand, in that point of day. And I think if we're honest with ourselves, it's important too. You know, when we look at our presidents and elected officials and stuff, you know, there is an appeal to what we in our modern day and age consider as handsome or beautiful. It's definitely helps with things. But I think the most important thing that we can't forget is this gentleman said, God is with him. God is with him. Very, very important point. So that's what David was doing before he became king. How he came to be chosen as king. I just shared about the rejection of Saul, right? He wasn't following God. What David did after he was chosen to be king. Now here's another thing we all forget. David was anointed by Samuel to become the king. Did he become king right then and there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. What began to happen was Saul called him into his fold because Saul had this demon, and the only way to deal with this demon was to have a good musician play. And so he brought David in to play because God was with him. Or as Daisy said, he was anointed, is another word. The presence of God was powerful in him. So when he played, this demon lifted, and Saul was nice again. I don't know what happened to Saul, but the demon lifted, so whatever happened. So they brought David in. And this is where David started. Was he king? No. Was he anointed? Yes. But he came and he played his harp. Saul said, I like that guy. And then what happened, there was a battle against the Philistines. And this big dude named Goliath, everybody was scared of. David basically said, hey, I'll take the guy. I'll take him. Saul's like, whoa, what? You're just you're a musician. You're a singer boy. You're not a warrior. I mean, so David, in the end, he went out there and he beat up this big guy and killed him. Okay, I'm just giving you insights because it's such an amazing story. And then what happened is once he killed Goliath, then he had the attention of Saul, you understand. Saul made him one of his armor bearers. Saul brought him into his court, brought him in close because he wanted him to be next to him. But this is also where Saul starts to become jealous of David. Because everybody starts, they were a sing-songy culture, okay? Different than ours. So David killed all these Philistines, and they start singing these songs. David killed his millions. Saul's killed his thousands. Ooh, what? You understand? That was very, very, it's a sign of disrespect. So Saul began to get jealous. And then also at this time, and this is a very key point people miss, David found a best friend in Jonathan. Jonathan was Saul's son. Very, very important. Again, I'm giving you this history because it's such a rich text of Scripture. You have to get into it. So now he was in the court, right? And then what happens? Saul begins to get jealous. And now he wants to kill David. Remember, who's the real king in God's eyes? David. Who's the king right now? Saul. Now Saul is mad at David, and he starts chasing him to kill him. Do you know how long David ran for? About 10 years. Okay, remember, he was a shepherd, preparation. He got anointed, got into the court. And now what he's doing, he's running. But he's the king. Never felt like that. He's running for 10 years. And some of the things he did, which are interesting, he ate consecrated bread for only the priests. That's a no-no. Okay, just you have to trust me on that. It's a no-no. You don't do that. He pretended to be insane. There's a period of time when something happened, so he said, oh my gosh, I'm going to get killed. So he pretended to be nuts. Now you have to listen to this because this is the guy after God's heart, okay? Oh, dude, I'm going to go into court and take some of that bread. You know what I'm saying? No, don't do that. Oh, I'm in trouble. Oh, I'm cuckoo. You know what I'm saying? This is the man after God's heart. So if you want to be, if you're crazy and nutty, then you're on your way. Then, not only that, he starts to gather his armies, right? I love the scripture. It says, all those who are in distress, in debt, or discontented, gathered around him and he became their leaders. We would say, you know, all the criminals, all the crooks, all the depressed people came together and warred with David. Can you imagine that crew of people? I mean, I'm thinking from David's point of view, you know, well, I don't know if I signed up for this, Lord. You could take that oil back. Can you imagine running for your life, being in a cave, and then all these other people who are just messed up join you and say, hey, we want to join you? I mean, I'm on my own. You ever watch Rambo? That's me. Leave me. Go. So anyway, he ate consecrated bread. He pretended to be insane. His army was a bunch of, nuts, criminals, fanatics, Doc Holidays. Some of you might have got that anyway. But he also learned at this point in time to inquire of God. If you start to read the passages, everything he did, it starts to say, David inquired of God what to do. So now he's running. God put him in this position, but he's still inquiring of God what to do. And there are a few times David could have killed Saul and taken his rightful place. David once or twice had a sword to Saul's neck, and he didn't know it, of course. He was sleeping. But he could have killed him and taken his place, right? What's the corporate world teach us? Get everything you can at the expense of anybody else. Just get what you need. David learned the lesson. He said, I am not going to touch Saul. Why? Because God put him there. So it's God's responsibility to take him out of there. Even though I'm tired of running, even though I have this opportunity to take it out on them right now, I'm going to wait for God to do his part and step away. You understand? Saul, what did he do? He took matters into his own hand. What did David do at this point in time? He inquired of the Lord, said, hey, what's God? You know, God put him here. I'm not touching him. Very, very key principles to understand.